The succession crisis of Heorot, a royal soap opera of the Dark Ages. Beowulf or Sunday. Yeah, anyway. Forget your flimsy royal dramas, your tame tales of succession. The Dark Ages, mate? That was a proper fucking mess. And nowhere was that more evident than in the venerable halls of Heorot, the grand mead hall of King Hrothgar, celebrated in the epic poem Beowulf. We are on a Beowulf channel, so what did you expect? You might think it's all Grendel and dragons, heroic deeds and bolstering Danes, but peel back the skin, look a little closer at the historical bone, and you'll find a dynastic drama so twisted, so drenched in betrayal, it makes your modern monarchy look like a fucking tea party. We're talking about usurpation, we're talking about murder, we're talking about a family tree that wasn't just tangled, it was fucking strangled. This isn't just about good versus evil, it's about good versus a bigger claim, a sharper knife, and the inconvenient truth that sometimes the hero of one tale is the villain of another. At the heart of it all, Hrothulf, known in later Scandinavian tales as Hrethric, and his uncle Hrothgar, king of the Danes. The poem Beowulf itself, it whispers, it hints, you know the lines, where the two good ones sat, uncle and nephew. As yet there was peace between them, and each was true to the other. Yeah. As yet. That's the key, isn't it? The ticking clock on a supposed peace. Because history, the proper brutal history, tells a different story. Last week we heard about Hrothgar and his brother getting revenge. Well, there we go again. A story of a peace that shattered, leaving blood on the throne. Hrothulf, by all accounts, a tough bastard. Older, battle-hardened, more ready for the throne than Hrothgar's own boys, Hrethric and Hrothmund. There's going to be a lot of names I'm most likely going to get shit wrong at some point, so if I do, I'll just put it here somewhere, so excuse me for making mistakes. These names are fucking all over the place. And in those days, that often mattered more than who popped out first. Sometimes it was just a nice idea. Strength, experience, that was currency. You see it in Hrothgar's own past. His brother, Heorot, who was king first, died young. His own son, Heoroward, was so green that Hrothgar just kind of stepped up. Convenient. Very convenient. A bit of a pattern emerging, you might say. But let's get to the real dirt. The peace between uncle and nephew. Saxo Grammaticus, that 12th century Danish historian, he pulls no punches. He says Rollo, that's our Hrothulf, slew Roricus. And not just slew him, but stole all his shit. Saxo scratched his head a bit about who this Roricus was, called him the son of the covetous Borcus. But the scholars, they peeled back the layers. This Roricus was Heorot. I'm not even going to attempt that surname. There it is. It's a big fucking long bastard. Anyway, and guess who Heorot likely was? Hrethric, Hrothgar's own son. There's a proper scandalous bit of cover-up too. Look at the old Danish kings list, the Langfestgatla. The Langfestgatla. It reads Halfdan, Helgi, Hror, Rolf, Heorot, Heorot. But the clever bastards who compiled it, or those who copied it, were they trying to scrub history clean? It should have read Halfdan, Helgi, Hror, Heorot, Rolf. Did you see that? They shifted Heorot and Heorot after Rolf. Why? To make it like Rolf was the legitimate successor, not a murderous usurper. A deliberate political smudge on the historical record. It makes you wonder what other inconvenient truths were tucked away. And Hrothmund, Hrothric's brother, that other princeling Hrothgar supposedly had. Poetic fiction. Probably. A convenient narrative device, our notes put it bluntly. It is natural that princes that are under threat of usurpation go in pairs. Apparently it makes for better poetic fiction. That was all taken from the book, I know. That was R.W. Chambers right there. Grim, isn't it? Sacrifice a fictional son for a better story. Better a fictional son than a real one. The treachery doesn't stop with Hrothulf. Hrothgar himself, old King Heorot, he might have been a bit of a shifty bastard too. Remember Heoroweard, Hrothgar's nephew, son of the late King Hrothgar? Custom, tradition, decency. They all demanded Heoroweard inherit his father's arms, his ancestral war gear. So what happened? Beowulf straight up tells us. Hrothgar gifted those very arms to Beowulf. Hrothgar had never bequeathed it to his son Heorot, that worthy scion, loyal as he was. Why? Why deny the boy his inheritance? Why disarm a relative who, by all accounts, was worthy and loyal? You got to ask yourself, did Hrothgar, having taken the throne from his own presumably underage nephew, fear Heorot getting too strong? Becoming too much of a rival? It's a cynical viewpoint, sure, but keep potential enemies weak. But you know what? History has a way of coming back to bite you in the ass. Fast forward to the Saga of Hrethric and Saxons accounts fill in the blanks. Our boy Hrothulf himself, meets his end. And who's the instrument of his downfall? A figure whose name matches Heorot's exactly. Heroweard in Saxo, and this, I'm not even going to try to explain that, was in the Sagas. Neither ancient source spills the beans on why these cousins were at each other's throats, but they say Heroweard and his men rose upon Hrothulf and his warriors at a banquet. A bloody banquet. It's the oldest trick in the fucking book. So what happened next? Well, Hrothulf's men, invincible in death, they fought to the last, all but one. Vigo. He'd sworn vengeance if Hrothulf fell. Now this guy was weak. He wasn't a big dude, he wasn't a warrior. People laughed at him for being weak. They would throw food at him, as, you know, because what's he gonna do? Complain? But he was smart. Because he hid. Heorot, gloating, impressed by his defiance, expressed regret that none had lived, outsteps Vigo. Feigns loyalty, places his hand on Heorot's sword as if to pledge, and then, without missing a beat, pulls it out and drives it into the bastard's heart. His duty of vengeance, more sacred than this new oath. The Sagas praise this act. A loyal retainer, a proper gruesome end to a dynasty. The end of the Shieldings. And just like that, a direct line of the Shieldings, Halfdan's grandsons, dried up. A whole dynasty built on strength, on supposed glory, collapses. Not from dragons, not from monsters, but from the rot within, the internal conflict. Naked ambition, a casual disregard for who was meant to sit on the throne. The Beowulf poet, bless his cotton socks, he hinted at these darker truths. He couldn't spell it all out, not with the narrative he had, but the wider Scandinavian tradition. It rips the plaster off. It lays bare the full bloody extent of the Shieldings dynastic problems. A courtly drama where swords settled more disputes than any law, where loyalty was a fleeting commodity in the shadows of a crown. So, the next time you read Beowulf, remember this: Heorot wasn't just a place for feasting and fame. It was a crucible of ambition, a bloody stage for a family tearing itself apart. The historical elements, pieced together from fragmented texts and sagas, they don't just add a footnote to the old poem, they transform it. From a simple epic of good versus evil into a brutal, compelling tale of power, betrayal, and the messy, unforgiving reality of king-making in the Dark Ages. A lesson in why some stories are best left unwritten, or at least left with a lot of implied as-yets. Because sometimes the real monsters aren't outside the hall, they are sitting at the high table. Anyway, the YouTube algorithm thinks you'll like this video. Happy Fridays. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed. Like the video if you like the video, and I'll see you in the next one.